Okay, looks like a good-sized crowd tonight. Thanks for coming out. We would like to start with a prayer first.
If you'd like to join me, you can bow your heads. Lord, we thank you for our last week that we had off of school and for rest and relaxation. We thank you for our students and staff and that they made it back this week safely. Please watch over our meeting this evening and help everyone to get home safely this evening. These things we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Okay, I'll call the meeting to order for the Monday, October 16th school board meeting. We will start out with individual student growth recognition.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being with us this evening. This is one of our most favorite parts of our board meeting, so it's fun to celebrate with all of you. We will start with our guiding principle of individual student growth, and from there transition into another guiding principle of collaboration. But let's start with our students this evening. We are going to start with our Central 9 Students of the Month for the month of October. So if you are a Central 9 Student of the Month for October, please come forward when I call your name. Mary Benkert in Information Technology Operations. Hi, Mary. Joe Bergener in Culinary Arts. And Dylan Wamsmagans in Diesel Services. Please join me in congratulating these three students.
Congratulations on being here tonight. We're going to have you introduce yourself, talk a little bit about your program and that you're in at Central 9. And if there's anyone in the audience that you'd like to introduce and say thank you to, you're more than welcome to at this time as well.
I'm Dylan, and I'm in diesel mechanics, and we just work on mostly semis all day and learn about that.
Do you want to continue in that path as a career, or is this a good exploration to something else?
It's a good thing to get into if you want anything mechanic-wise.
Hi, I'm Joe Bergener. I'm in the Culinary Arts Level 2 class. Every Monday we serve food for Rotary, and Thursdays and Fridays we do like kitchen labs. We just make different foods. We learn all about like breakfast, and like most recently we're learning about diets and dietary restrictions and all that stuff. Yeah, I'm planning to continue, take this to Ivy Tech and take it from there.
Hi, my name is Mary Benkert. I am in Information Technology Operations with Mr. Mulligan. And basically what I do is I tend to get my work done early in class. I tend to work over the weekend. And what I do is essentially I help other students, and also I've taught the class multiple times how to do certain things because I've gone ahead. This is something I want to do in the future. I am very hoping that I can get an internship next year. I really want to thank my mom and dad for helping and supporting me. And though they're not here tonight, I also want to thank just everyone in my just local community in Indiana, especially like the metal and hardcore music scene, because they gave me the inspiration to do what I do today. Kinda. Not to say I haven't done it already.
Please join us again in congratulating these students. We're going to grab a photo. Great work. Our next group consists of second graders and third graders from last school year. So I want to be clear. These are students who are in second and third grade in the 2022-2023 school year. And these students earned a perfect score of 650 on their IREAD 3 state assessment. So I'm going to ask, as well as the students when I call your name, if our elementary principals would like to come forward. If you have a second or third grader who received a perfect score and you would like to congratulate them, please come forward as well. Our second graders from last year, Carrie Cottingham, Benjamin Fonstad, Kalani Hunsinger, Noah Hyman, Ryder Johnson, Leilani Keywood, Larkin Magar, Jesse Skaggs, and Kaylee Sullivan. These are our second graders from last year who received a perfect score on the state's assessment for reading. Please join me in giving them a warm round of applause. I'm going to ask them to go ahead and stay up here with us as we now move on to our third graders. And they're receiving the all-important pencil right now. Third grade, Harris Beck, Abigail Christensen, Cruz Compton, Remington Davis, Roxy Davis, Jackson Hagemeyer, Violet Heidelberg, Jason Hogan, Henry Jones, Easton Kaiser, Benjamin Lowe, Michelle Mitchum, Grayson Pash, Tyler Schlesser, Cassidy Smith, Elena Tatum, and Connor Vogel. These are our second and third graders from our elementary schools who received perfect score on their IRE 3 assessment. Please give them a round of applause. We are going to have the students introduce themselves. If you would please tell us which elementary you attend. You can also introduce your principal if you want to. And if someone is here with you, tell us who is with you this evening. Did you get all of that? That was a lot. Who you are, what school you attend, maybe point to or introduce your principal, and then who's with you. Sound good?
My name is Kyrie, and I go to Webb Elementary, and my principal is Miss Ray, and me and my mom and dad are here.
Hi there, I have Kaylani Hutzinger, and she goes to Northwood Elementary, and I think I saw you come with your mom today, right? Yeah.
I'm Ryder Johnson, and I go to Union Elementary School, and I came here with my dad.
So cute.
My name is Noah Hyman. I go to Union Elementary School, and I came here with my parents.
My name is Benjamin Fonstad. I go to Union Elementary School, and I came here with my mom and dad.
I'm Larkin Magar. I go to Union Elementary, and I came here with my mom, dad, and little sister. My name is Leilani Keywood, and I go to Creekside. And parents brought me.
My name is Harris Beck, and I go to Creekside Elementary, and my mom and dad brought me here.
Hi, I'm Abigail Christensen. I go to Webb Elementary, and I'm here with my mom and dad.
Hi, I'm Cruz Compton, and I came here from Webb Elementary, and I came with my mom, dad, grandpa, and grandma.
I am Remington Davis, and I go to Creekside Elementary, and I came here with my mom, my mom's partner, my little sister, and a little brother.
My name is Violet Heidelberger, and I go to Northwood Elementary, and my mom and dad came with me.
Hi, my name is Jason, and I go to Webb Elementary, and my mom and dad brought me here today.
Hello, my name is Henry Jones, and I go to Needham Elementary, and I came here with my mom, dad, an exchange student from Spain.
Hi, my name is Easton Kaiser, and I go to Needham Elementary, and I came here with my mom and dad.
Hi, my name is Grayson Pash. I go to Creekside Elementary, and I'm here with my mom, dad, grandma, twin sister, and big brother.
Hi, my name is Tyler Slasha. I go to Creekside Elementary, and my mom, and I have my twin brother, Josh, here with me today.
My name is Cassidy Smith, and I go to Needham Elementary, and my mom and dad are here with me.
My name is Connor Vogel, and I go to Needham Elementary, and I came here with my mom.
All right, we're going to try to get a picture here with everyone. So if we can have the second graders move one step forward, third graders go behind, and the principals will be in the last row. All right. Second graders, if you can take 2 steps towards me. 1, 2, all right. Are we balanced pretty well? Moms and dads will let you take the first pictures if you want to jump in there. Congratulations, everyone. We'll look forward to seeing you back here in a few years because our next recipients are National Merit Scholars, and they continue to prevail as they get to be a senior in high school. So stick around for them because we'll look forward to when you're a senior to come back and get this award. So congratulations and keep up the great work. Thank you, Mom and Dad. I know it's a lot to get the kids here and for their success academically. All right.
Congratulations again. As Dr. Clendenning just gave a quick preview, we are now going to recognize our National Merit semifinalists. So there were 7 students in Johnson County who were named National Merit semifinalists, and we have 2 of those 7. So could seniors Ethan Bergman and Monica Slayer, if you're with us this evening, please come forward. These 2 students were selected among 1.3 million juniors who took the PSAT last year. Scoring high, they now have a chance to advance to the finalist round. They also have an opportunity to earn a college scholarship through the National Merit Scholarship Corporation. These awards will be announced in the spring. Congratulations, Monica.
Thank you all. I'm very honored to be representing Franklin in this competition, as I have applied to be a finalist.
I'm hoping to study biochemistry, hopefully at the University of Chicago, although I haven't received any decisions yet. I'm here with my mother tonight. I love her so much. Thank you. That's about it. Thank you.
Shout out to your principal. I'm sure he had a lot to do with it too.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. Yep.
Actually, Mr. House, if you would come down so we can get a picture with you, just like we did for the elephant. Well, it is a great honor to be recognized as a National Merit Scholar and semifinalist. And 1.3 million, that's a lot of kids, and you're in the top group. And this will definitely help your resume as you look for the University of Chicago or other schools. Where else have you applied?
I haven't applied anywhere yet.
NIU, is that what I heard you say? I'm just kidding. Those were all really good choices. Notre Dame's not bad. Yeah, not bad. All right. Oh, and the most important part of being up here is, you know what, right? The pencil. Yes, thank you.
We are now would like to recognize our girls golf team. Our girls golf team had an awesome season. They finished 8th place at the IHSAA state tournament. So when I call your name, ladies, please come forward. Just whole row, just walk up together. Lexi Ray. Addison Livorno. Come on up. Reese Phillips. Lexi Ray, Addison Livorno, Reese Phillips, Addie Bright, Kara Hukin, and Cassidy Rucker. The coaches this year were Crystal Morris and Ted Bishop. If you would also please come forward. Our athletic director, Mr. Doty, and our principal, Mr. A. House. Let's give them a huge round of applause on a job well done.
Well, it's our privilege to be here. This group of girls was the first group in high school girls golf to make it to the state tournament in 24 years. Been a long time, and we'd had a lot of close finishes in the past 5 regionals, but a great group. They set the all-time school scoring record. The other thing that was very impressive is that 4 of these girls performed personal bests at various legs in the IHSA state or sectional or regional tournaments. So truly a overall team effort, and we appreciate the recognition.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. I got a chance to go on Friday to watch the girls play their first 9 holes, and a lot of composure. There's a lot of stress you get to see up on the tee as they're being introduced, but it was with great pride I was able to watch them, and congratulations. We're going to pass the mic to introduce yourself, thank your parents or anything you like. And for the seniors, please tell us what your plans are for the future.
I'm Cassidy Rucker, and both my parents are here.
I'm Addie Bright. Both my parents are here, and I'd like to thank my dad specifically because he spends 95% of his time helping me with golf. So,
my name is Kara Hukin. I came with both my parents, and I would like to thank them for supporting me through all my years of playing golf. And after high school, I plan to go to Huntington University to study in their occupational therapy program.
My name is Emma Kristoff, and my parents could not make it tonight, sadly.
My name is Reese Phillips, and both of my parents are here.
My name is Addie Livorno, and I drove myself here tonight. And the next year, I plan to study international law and sociology.
I'm Lexi Ray, and my parents unfortunately couldn't make it tonight.
Reese has a distinct pleasure in her family. The last time that Franklin High School went to the girls' state tournament, her mother was a player. And so it's with great pride that the family represents it. And 24 years separation. If you get a chance, there was a nice video that was made of the girls and their successes, and we'll pass it on to the school board as well. So well done, congratulations. We'll get a picture now with everybody. Give something to the board, is that correct? Okay, so yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. That's wonderful. Thank you.
Maybe. It's cool if you leave the sticker on.
And the tag,
Yeah,
the
might
mini
as
pearl
well.
tag.
Yeah.
That's nice. Oh, it's on the back. Oh, nice. That's really cool.
That's right. Until the picture goes on the wall.
Well,
Congratulations, everyone.
if we just went anywhere else, we'd coach.
Our next recognition for students this evening is our FFA Wildlife Habitat Evaluation Team. This team competed at the state level over the summer and placed 7th at the state competition. The contest involves being able to identify various mammals, birds, reptiles, and amphibians native to Indiana. They had to take a knowledge exam and create a wildlife management plan for a specific property type. Congratulations to these students and to their coaches and teachers for all of their hard work. With the following students, please come forward. Anthony Zare, Tank Elmore, Caitlin Chapman, and Lena Penning. Could our teachers and coaches also come forward, Mrs. Kesey and Mr. Bada? Congratulations to our FFA Wildlife Habitat Evaluation Team and their 7th place at the state competition. Please join me in congratulating them.
You want to talk about the competition?
Sure. Yeah, and I'll introduce our coaches too. So our contest is held yearly. It is a really awesome contest that our kids really enjoy. It's a very applicable contest where the kids really get to learn skills and utilize them in real world applications. This year we were incredibly lucky to be able to bring 2 Franklin FFA alumni back. National competitors, national champion wildlife from our wildlife team back in the day. And Brody Wade and Mary Armstrong are alumni, and they coached our team this past year. So we really appreciate all their effort and work that they have given to us. So we really appreciate that.
Pass the mic to this. You guys want to say anything about this competition?
So this is probably I'm a local, Johnson County my whole life. Graduated from Franklin in 2018. I did 4 years at Purdue, basically doing what this contest holds true to doing wildlife habitat and environmental management. So I'm glad that I was able to come back here and teach some of these high schoolers a thing or two. And hopefully next year we'll make it even further and make it to nationals.
Hi, my name is Lena Penning, and my parents are here with me tonight.
My name is Caitlin Chapman, and I brought my mom with me tonight. Hey, Mom. I just wanted to give a big thank you to Brody and Mary for really making this happen. This is one of my favorite contests by far. It is so awesome, and it really couldn't have made it happen without you guys. So, thank you.
Hi, I'm Anthony Zare, came here with my dad, and after I graduate, I plan to go to Purdue if they accept me and study entomology and minor in wildlife. But if they don't, I'll go to Ball State for anthropology.
So when you were taking the test for wildlife, what was the most difficult thing you had to identify?
I would probably have to say there were like a couple birds for like ID that the one that like really stuck out to me, I guess, was like the brown thrasher, which we had only studied like twice and it wasn't anywhere else, and I kind of forgot it was a bird. So like, and they were like, and that one's the brown thrasher, and I was like, oh, like I knew that.
Well, I guess our state, the state contest was definitely memorable, that's for sure. It was pouring rain, and we had to write a full essay in the rain, and it was a bonding experience, and I'm really glad I got to experience that and go through it as a team, so.
It was a really fun time. The rain did make it really fun and interesting. I think the hardest part about it for me was the skull identifications, because I didn't realize how small a muskrat skull was.
Thank you. We'll look forward to having you back next year and asking the same question. So, Mr. A. House, come on in. We'll get a picture. Thanks, everyone. Here you go, Mary. Yeah, there you go.
Congratulations and well done to all of our students. Thanks again to our community members, our coaches, our teachers, parents, families, everyone who's been here to support our students and work alongside them. Mr. A. House, you may want to stay. Our 2024, now we've moved on to collaboration. We have two of them this evening. Two of our certified staff we would like to recognize, and these are both wow, right? Like all capital W-O-W, wow. We're very proud to announce that Eric Jenkins, Eric, if you want to go ahead and come on down. I just spotted you back there. I was having a hard time finding you earlier. Eric Jenkins, one of our high school English teachers, was named the 2024 Indiana Teacher of the Year by the Indiana Department of Education. As the Indiana Teacher of the Year, Eric will work to elevate the teaching profession throughout the state of Indiana, as well as represent the Hoosier teachers at the national level. Again, let's congratulate Eric Jenkins.
So we mentioned the 1.3 million students for National Merit. Eric is one of 65,000 Indiana teachers. And so to be recognized as the person that exemplifies teaching in the state of Indiana for this year really stands out. So we're proud of you, Eric. I know your family's proud of you, but if you ever get a chance to go into his classroom, I would say everyone should go in and watch. It's truly engaging. The day that he found out he was a finalist, three people knew that was Mr. A. House, Dr. Worland, and myself, and then a whole crew of people walked into his classroom. And he was teaching second period to a group of sophomores. And they said, oh, go ahead and just keep teaching. And sure enough, he did. It was pretty amazing to kind of watch him not get flustered. And the camera was in his face. They were talking to the kids. But Eric did a phenomenal job. So congratulations. And we know you'll do well at the next level. So well done.
Yeah, so in addition, sorry, I think I lost my voice in Mammoth Cave this last weekend. So just thank you to everybody, our board, most of all my family for putting up with me. And it marks a really significant moment for me because this will be right about 10 years that I've worked here at Franklin Community Schools. So I'm really excited to go out there and represent and show and share all the best that our district has to offer, and that's probably going to be the most amazing part for me. So thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Wasn't prepared for this. No, it's been a pleasure watching Eric since my time there. So I haven't been there all 10 years that Eric's been there, but he's been a leader in our building. He just comes in every day and respects students and respects his colleagues, and he's always willing to share and lead and do that kind of stuff in the building. So it's been great working with him, and so it came as no surprise when we recognized him as our building teacher of the year that he would kind of move through that process. I mean, he's been one that's been on our eyes for that award for a while, and the teachers recognized it in our building, and so he deserves that honor. And if you would have been at in our gym when they announced that he was teacher of the year, same kind of thing. He just didn't get flustered. He just walks up to the mic and just starts saying all these amazing things. And I said it to the kids, when you do that, like it's hard to do. It's hard to be like right now, just to be handed a mic and say, hey, speak and say some things. But when it comes from your heart, then it's really easy to do that. And so all these things he said about what he believes about teaching and his colleagues and about his kids and about growth, like he doesn't have to get up there and like think of all those things, because that's just how he does business. So that's how he comes every day. So it comes natural to him to just praise other people and show respect and be humble about it. And so it just showed in that moment. He's handed a mic in front of a full gym of people, and he just won an award that he didn't know was coming, or for the most part didn't know was coming. And that's just him. So we're just proud of him, and he's going to represent our school well and our district as well. So.
The second of our two WOW collaborations is a recognition for Monica Anderson. Monica, why don't you go ahead and come forward? We're very proud to announce that Monica Anderson, one of our Franklin Community School middle school counselors, was named the 2024 Middle School Counselor of the Year by the Indiana School Counselor Association. This award recognizes her leadership, advocacy, and collaboration in her work with students, where she promotes equity and access to opportunities and educational experiences for all of our students to maximize their achievements. Please join me in congratulating Monica Anderson.
It was a pretty cool event on that Monday. Monica thought she was here to judge a speech contest. Principal Holman, Mrs. Holman did a great job of keeping a secret, just like Mr. Ahaus did. So Rita had this whole thing all staged. Her parents and family were behind the screen, and then they had Mr. Betts' daughter read a speech. It was supposed to have someone that had a significant impact in their life. So she gets all the way through her speech, and the last couple sentences said, "We're not really here for the speech contest. We're here to announce that you're the Middle School Counselor of the Year." And it was a really special and cool moment. Then her family came out. So well done, and you represent us quite well. I know your love for kids, and I know what you do to advocate for every student. And it's neat that the state recognizes the special person you are, both as an educator and as a mom, and just as a person. So well done, and we're honored to have you. That Monday was a really cool day because Eric's event was in the morning, and then in the afternoon I got to come down here and celebrate. So this is definitely a highlight for me as being superintendent, to celebrate both outstanding educators.
Oh, I could just be. Oh, great. Okay. Thank you so much. This was a huge surprise, and when I say huge, I mean complete surprise. Had no idea, so I'm not sure how it was pulled off that way, but it was amazing. And I'm really, really proud to be in Franklin. This is year 11 here, and year 22 or 23 overall. And so when I wanted to come to Franklin, we were just waiting for a position to be open. And when a middle school position came open, I thought, I don't know. Middle school, there's a lot to love there. But I'm so glad and thankful that I took the chance and that Franklin took a chance on me as well. So thank you. Thanks.
So I think that a lot of times we have just really great people who don't always get recognized for the great things that they do and the great people that they are. And, you know, when they do get an opportunity to stand in the spotlight and be celebrated, it's just a really cool thing to be a part of. For those of you who don't know Monica, she's just a really, really good human. And so it was and she's a friend of mine too. And to be able to stand next to her and celebrate the success with her was a really cool opportunity for me and for the colleagues that she works with and the students that she advocates for. She's got a great heart. She is super humble and flies under the radar all the time, does not like to stand in the spotlight and be recognized. So for us to be able to do this and to really celebrate her the way that she so often celebrates other people is really cool to be a part of. She does represent Franklin and all that we stand for, all the good that we are, and it really, what a great day for us to be able to select a couple of our just rock stars to be able to celebrate with them. It's really cool.
Thank you very much. And that concludes our recognition for this evening, but stick around. We've got some exciting things. We've got ag. We have the budget that we all like to hear about, and a few other things. So we'll look forward to those beginning. But recognition is now concluded. Thank you.
The big tease. Coming up next.
Okay, we will move along to the consent agenda. Are there any public comments? Any additions? Anything we see?
Yeah, I just want to publicly thank Mr. Tony Harris. Tony was our soccer coach, and he has gone on to an administrative position at the MSD Perry Township Schools. But Tony did a great job being the middle school athletic director and soccer coach. And this year, they did finish as mid-state champions, which was a great way to end the year. And they had a very tough battle against Columbus North in the sectionals. And we lost 2-1, is that right? And we had a chance in the waning minutes to tie it and just miss the goal. But I want to thank Tony for all that he has done for our school district and wish him the very best.
I just wanted to point out that First Merchants Bank has increased our interest rate on our accounts. I reached out to them a couple months ago to see if maybe we needed to move some of our money into CDs or something like that since the interest rates were going up. They offered to make it easier on us and let us keep our existing funds in those accounts and increase our interest rate to negative 0.25 over the federal rate, which right now is 5.25. So for an example, in comparison to September of 22, which we made $26,000 in interest, in September of 23, after they raised it, it's $87,000 for that month in interest. So I'm super happy about this because that'll keep the money that we need for our employer choice initiatives and make sure we have the funds to be able to do those projects.
Also, I'd just like to highlight a couple others. Kim Sperling was here several months ago to talk about the Care Solace partnership, where it's a mental health a liaison agency that helps connect both the person in need in our school district with an agency, and they do the soft handoff. Dr. Warland has been working alongside her, and it's really working well to meet the needs of our community, so we're going to ask that we extend that. Remember, we did a pilot for 3 months, I believe, and we're going to extend that for the rest of this year. The second thing I'd like to highlight is the Smart Social program that Mr. Perlee brought to us a year ago. We're going to extend that using our Title I resources through K-6. And remember, this is a parent advocacy resource that helps on understanding the apps and different things that happen in the social media world to keep our kids safe and safer. So we will look forward to that partnership. I want to thank Mr. Perlee for bringing that to us. And then Mr. Zook did present on that last time we spoke.
Okay. The board have any questions or anything?
No. I'll move for approval.
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Consent agenda passes. We'll move along to superintendent reports, the agriculture building opportunity.
All right, we have a few people here this evening to talk about this. And first off, Alicia Giese. She will be coming up to speak with you all. She is our FFA advisor and ag teacher, one of them at the high school for us. And so she'll be the main person talking to you tonight. With her as well as Dan Bada, another FFA advisor and ag teacher at the high school. And along with her, Kent Gross. Also, he is the Franklin FFA Alumni and Supporters President. They've been doing quite a bit of work behind the scenes. Well, I guess maybe in front of the scenes too. I'm not sure which one. They've been doing all of it. Done a great job. I had the opportunity to meet with them before fall break to hear the great things they're doing to raise funds and prepare to add on to the FFA program at Franklin Community High School. So I'm going to turn this over to Alicia.
Thank you so much, Mr. Betts. Well, hello again. I feel like we try to see you guys on a pretty annual basis. Today's presentation will be shorter, I promise. I know, like, normally when we come, I talk for, like, ever. This one will be shorter. We just came, our ag program came to kind of give you guys an update on where we are. We came to you last year to ask about potentially starting our fundraising campaign, which we did. So I'm just going to give you guys an update of kind of where we are. So the first slide is just our mission statement that we developed over time, just to it's kind of what is driving us. Mr. Ahaus gave Dan and myself fantastic advice a couple years ago, and he said, create a mission and a vision and go to that, because it's easy to get off track. So we are trying really hard to stick to our vision and our mission, so that's kind of always at the forefront. The next slide is one that we've had in our presentations for a long time, just to so everybody knows where we're talking about. The ground that we are developing is about 9 acres, just north of the greenhouse there, kind of next to the football field. So just so kind of everybody knows where we're talking about when we move forward. The facility that's on our next slide here is a current drawing. Mr. Bada also, I think, gave you guys like a picture drawing of what we're thinking. This is really courtesy of Kent Gross, and our alumni have done fantastic work, really talking to a lot of people and trying to develop a good facility that would be a great fit for us. So what you're seeing on the screen is kind of after lots and lots and lots of discussion and talking with Purdue University. We've visited Purdue University, Huntington University, along with multiple different high school ag programs throughout the state of Indiana. We have kind of come up with this as a relatively, we think right now, a good kind of design for our building. When we came to you guys a couple years ago, we had talked about 2 buildings. But as we talked to our connections at Purdue and Huntington, we really found that it really didn't make a lot of sense to keep the 2 buildings, and it would be much easier to make it into 1. So that's our current kind of design right now. The paper you guys have is just kind of a picture, Kent Gross he has a connector at FBI buildings, and they kind of created this 3D mock-up for us of what it could potentially look like. And then the drawing on the inside was done by Kent Gross as well. And if you want any other further, more detailed drawings, we would be very, very happy to send those to you as well. As far as our fundraising goes, I would say I am blown away by how well our fundraising campaign has gone so far. As of today, we have about $325,000 raised for our facility. And that is, we're partnering with the Johnson County Community Foundation. Kim Casting at the foundation has been a huge supporter. She is fantastic and has done a great job working with us. So most of the money is being held at the Community Foundation, but we do have some donations that have been made and is with our alumni. Most of our donations are anonymous, but from the community here, I think a lot of agricultural leaders in Franklin have made amazing donations. I just feel humbled and so grateful for how supportive Franklin is. Ever since I've lived in our community now for about 10 years, I guess I moved here. I've always been blown away by how fantastic Franklin is. It really is a fantastic community with wonderful citizens, and I just am constantly in awe of that. Our alumni also got just recently a grant for a little under $25,000 from the Johnson County Community Foundation for the purpose of putting up a hoop house on site. The hoop house would be an excellent way to kind of extend our growing season as well, and the Community Foundation was incredibly supportive, so that was very exciting too. But that was granted to our alumni for this project as well. As far as work to date that we've done so far, so we've obviously done a lot of work planning for the site and creating a design for the building. In order to do that, we kind of started with like a little meeting on the whiteboard in my classroom 3 years ago. And then since then, we have visited, like I said, several facilities and talked to lots of directors and managers of these types of facilities just to get some ideas of what would work and what wouldn't work. And that's been really incredibly beneficial. Kent, our alumni president, and some of our alumni have done a great job developing relationships with engineering services in the community, architectural services, so we have worked a little bit with talking to them about potential options and building designs. That's more out of my realm, though. That's like a question for them. But they've done an incredible amount of work. We've done a lot of work with our fundraising. Our alumni group, our parents are amazing, and they work incredible hours to try to raise this money. Most of the fundraising was done, the efforts were really put in by our parents, and they've spent hours calling and going to visit and talking to people. Our kids have gone out into the community to fundraise, and that will continue. We still have lots of fundraising planned to continue our fundraising project. But again, I mean, that's a lot of work that our parents have done. And then lastly, educator professional development. Dan and I have been learning quite a bit about how to, like our teaching style and how that can work with this type of a hands-on facility. Takes some like retraining on our part as educators. So we have been doing some various professional developments. I spent a week this summer training with a national organization that trains teachers to do these hands-on facilities, and I learned about all these different hands-on projects you can do with plant science. And so we've done a lot of that to try to make sure that when we do build this facility that it's super successful for our kids, to make it a very hands-on learning experience. And then we're also continuing to develop just like educational plans for utilizing the facility. So that's kind of our work so far. Our next steps as we move forward, we have met with Mr. Betts and talked quite a bit with him. So we'll obviously continue that collaboration. And then based on our last meeting, we will probably have another meeting that we need to meet with talking about construction. We will have to meet with the Mr. Betts and the corporation attorney to kind of talk about what those next steps are when we're ready to start spending money. Coordinating with the school architects, continuing our fundraising, and then continuing our professional development between the educators in the ag department. And then I think my last slide that I've got for you guys is just considerations that we wanted to present to the board other than just presenting our progress. When we came a couple years ago, we've kind of talked about the commitment of having a manager for the site. We feel like this is imperative for the success of the program long term. It just is a lot of work to develop and maintain this type of a facility. So to make it as educationally beneficial as possible, we feel like having that facility manager is really important. So we just wanted to keep that presented to the board as a consideration. And then lastly, we just wanted to maintain the consideration of flexibility with fundraising and funding of the project, which I think as we work with Mr. Betts, that will kind of develop as well. So that's all I have. I do realize, I think that's it. Do we have anything else I'm missing? See, I went fast and I didn't drag it out. So, do you guys have any questions for me or us?
No questions, just a comment. So I remember you guys coming back in about 3 years ago with the idea. It was a great idea, but there was still a lot of questions around it. You guys have done a fantastic job getting to this point, so well done. I commend you and the parents for getting to this point.
Thank you. Like I said, the Franklin community is fantastic. The school parents are fantastic. Our alumni is wonderful. So Franklin has a wonderful community around them. So
absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll look forward to continued progress. And board, just as an FYI, we did, during the personnel agenda, you'll notice that we hired a coordinator for the ag program through a federal grant that they received. And that's Maddie Satter, I believe is her name. And that's kind of the liaison and link between what they're asking for 2025. So the grant picked up the funding at this point, and they're looking for someone similar to that to do that in the future. Is that correct on that? Just wanted to make sure. Well, I know that the question regarding the turning, we will get with Mr. Young and Mr. Betts to help answer some of those things so we can continue to move forward, but we appreciate what you're doing. Christy, anything? I know you've been part of the committee conversations.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
Okay, we will move along to the strategic plan update.
Yes, thank you. We want to continue to keep our strategic plan alive and moving forward with some tangible touch points. And so each of us here at the table and podium will be talking to you about our specific areas. So we'll start with Mrs. Gross.
One of the initiatives that the business office came up with was eliminating paper checks. So we have been working behind the scenes the last few months to initiate travel reimbursements through EFT rather than paper checks. That has been successful, so we're slowly bringing on vendors. We've got about 20 in the system now, with the hopes that by the end of 24 we'll be completely paperless in that respect. And I do have a resolution to that effect in the action items a little later.
On the curriculum, instruction, college and career side, there are a number of items in the plan, if you'll remember right from the plan. So I'm only going to highlight just a couple of the current projects that we have in place right now. And some of the project leaders are actually in the room, so I want to thank them as I go through some of these pieces. We had, one of our goals in the plan was to really focus on K through 4 literacy. And so we are doing that heavily this year with our participation in the literacy cadre, hours of PD and work. Matter of fact, the team met today to do homework, if you will, that they had over fall break. So I will be meeting with our Marian University partner, actually week after next, for about an hour and a half to talk through what are our strengths in the district, where do we have areas for improvement as we move forward over the course of the next 2 years. So I continue to be very excited about that partnership and those opportunities. I also want to thank Dr. Hayden in the back, Mandy Walls, for leading our project around our high ability experience for students. They've surveyed parents, they've surveyed students, they've surveyed teachers. We are now looking at curricula and what we teach and how we teach it, and are we in sync, are we consistent, what is the best scenario and situation for our students, what is that focus. So they're in the thick of it in year 2 of that project, I believe. Hoping to wrap that up at the end of this year, over this summer as we move into next year. Virtual is also in the program. And I think we've mentioned, at least in some of our communication with the board, that we've been working with Scott Martin and Steve Ahaus at the high school, Dr. Clendenning and I have, looking at what type of options can we glean from a continuum of virtual options, especially as we're looking at that CTE space, that college and technical education space, career and technical education. Are there ways for us to expand some of the opportunities we provide for students, especially at that high school level? So we're going to continue to look in that environment. Jen Scott has been doing a lot of work in our alternative education space, alternative pathways space. That was a large component of that strategic plan in the area that falls under my realm as well. So we have the BEST program at Needham Elementary, we have the LINK program and the DEN, and Shelby Murphy and her program at the high school. So continuing to look at how is that experiment, how are those pilots going, what's working, what's not working, what works in one building, can we pattern that in another building? Really looking for some consistencies that result in student growth and success, right? Making sure we've got students on the right pathway. The last one I want to highlight, Steve Ahaus and Tina Gross have been working on in a partnership with Ivy Tech, looking at our grad pathways. I mentioned a little bit grad pathways when I talked about the virtual space, but also looking at what are some of those other options. We just heard from the Ag department. That's one of our pathways for our students. They're looking at an opportunity for an education pathway. So some of those pathways were listed specifically in the strategic plan, so we're continuing to move forward on those commitments.
Thank you, Dr. Worland. And I oversee the culture and the community piece for our strategic plan. And I recently met with the 10X committee, and President Nelson is on that committee. And we're looking at ways to continue to recruit and bring people to us. And so one of the ideas that came out of it is a tuition reimbursement opportunity for our teachers, and it piggybacks off what Principal Ahaus and Dr. Worland are doing with pathways and trying to create more dual credit opportunities for our students. And so we're looking at offering the 10X grant for people that have been with us for 3 years and that want to further their education to make an impact inside the classroom. The one difference in this grant that we would provide through 10X would it be a reoccurring. We're not asking them, once they get accepted into the program, we're going to say they're accepted into the 10X, and we would continue to pay for their tuition hours to get their master's or doctorate, whatever, to impact our community. The other nuance to this part of the recruit and retain is that if for some reason they leave us in a short period of time of less than 5 years, we would ask for them to pay back a portion of that, since it is going to be able to continue on with them as they move on to their new career paths. But we're looking forward to this opportunity. Ms. Gross and I met today to go over some more details around it, but we're going to be presenting that as we roll out the 10X grant this time, and we're excited about that. I think the other thing that we want to continue to be aware of in the pulse of the community is how are we doing as a school district? So we surveyed actually last spring our internal community, and we used the framework that we used back in 2018, asking people, do you like working here, areas of growth? So we'll continue to bring that data to you, but it was very promising. It really paralleled a lot of what people say, and ultimately they do like to be here. There were some suggestions, obviously, that we could do better at it, and one of them I think that we're looking at is kind of the CBA, at looking at childcare and preschool opportunities. People know that we're a desert in Franklin, right? We don't have that many opportunities. So what can we do to help support our young families and get teachers to be a part of our journey? And so we're looking forward to that. I think that the thing that I really enjoy about this strategic plan over the past, we definitely have tangible breadcrumbs that we're seeing that we can go back to and say, yep, you know what? We did do that. Yes, we did do that. You know what? We're still missing that. So we'll continue probably each month from now on to have that up. And Mrs. Betts also just recreated the transformational map so we can see the year bands on how we're doing on the strategic plan. But today we just wanted to highlight a few of the things that we're noticing and just wanted to share back with the board.
Okay, thank you very much. We will move along to the corporate financial report. Tina?
Okay, so the first spreadsheet that you have show our ECA counts. It looks like in total we're bringing in more than we're spending, so kudos to the building treasurers for that. The second spreadsheet should look familiar. We review this quarterly. If you go down to that first green line and all the way to the right, percentage of spent column shows that we've spent 66% of our budget at the 75% point. So that's a great place to be in. I usually go down through that column by line item and kind of highlight those over that 75% mark. You'll see a few that are 2 or 3% over that 75% point. That's mainly the increased raises and stipends that we spent a little bit more than what we had budgeted, but have funds to cover that, so we should be fine there. You'll see summer school is at 116%. Obviously, we won't have any more expenses there. But the reason for that increase is since COVID, we've offered a lot more course offerings in the summertime. And we do get typically between $30,000 and $40,000 in reimbursement from the state for summer school as well. Right below that, the remediation line item is at 90%. That is due to adding the literacy cadre positions that we weren't expecting this year, but was a welcome gift. So it looks like we'll have enough funds to cover that in total. And then probably going down to transportation, we're at 91%. We're always over budget in transportation due to driver shortages, overtime, fuel cost, et cetera. We probably, historically we've transferred rainy day to cover that deficit in previous years. We haven't done that in the past couple of years. We've just kind of let that go to fund balance, or we had budget remaining in other places that would cover it. So as we get closer to the December year-end close, we'll have to decide how we want to handle that. And then bus replacements at 94%, but we only purchased one bus, so we won't have any more expenses in that line item. And then the large spreadsheet just shows all of that information in graph forms. So at the end of the third quarter, in total, we started with a fund balance of $12.2 million, and right now we're at $11.5 million. But that's going to fluctuate as we collect taxes, et cetera. So no real surprises. We're on track, so.
Could you also just highlight real quickly the textbook reimbursement program again, since this is brand new and ADM just being completed?
Yes, so we've gotten instructions on what needs to be submitted to the state to receive the estimated $151 per student. we still went through the process of attaching a cost to each course and everything. So we'll have to submit ADM counts and then our total cost per student. And then the state will calculate an average, and that's what we'll end up getting. We estimated that loss per se, the difference between what we'll get from the state and what we actually spend will be $350,000. And if you recall, Mr. Sprout applied for a grant, which we got, that covers Chromebooks for this year. So we'll be able to cover that deficit in that way. Can I answer any questions?
Okay, thank you. We will move along to action items. Are there any public comments on any action items? Okay. We will go to the naming of the school facilities.
Thank you, Mrs. Nelson. And appreciate you moving this to an action item. The naming of the school facilities, we just added some language for your consideration that would allow the school board the ability to waive the 5-year limitation for naming a part of a school building for after somebody that had or may still be working for us or within that 5-year period, but it would be such language that is significant enough that it would allow you that opportunity and that autonomy to make that decision. So that's really simply all it is. Right, I don't have any names to bring forward at this point, but look to here in the near future. So just seeking your approval.
Any questions?
Move for approval. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Move along to the resolution authorizing the EFT payments.
Okay, as I said, one of my dreams is to get rid of paper checks. So the State Board of Accounts requires me to get a resolution approved by the board to move in that direction. So if I were in your seat, the question that I would have is who has access to make these kind of transfers? And the answer is myself, the deputy treasurer, and the assistant deputy treasurer. However, it takes at least two of those people to push any transaction through the bank system. So we've got strong internal controls, and I think we're in a good position to make this happen.
Any questions?
When you move to the electronic payment, do you guys still print out the pay stubs?
You mean the explanation for like what invoice is covering or whatever?
Yes.
That's a good question. I'll have to see if that's part of what gets loaded into the bank.
Okay.
So they'll know what to apply it to. Is that what you're?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'll follow up on that.
Okay. Move for approval. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. And lastly, the adoption of the '24 budget.
Okay, so this is the last step in officially approving the '24 budget. So I'm requesting that the board adopt a $71.3 million budget, which equates to a request in tax rate of $1.98. Obviously, we will land much less than that with the referendum being fixed. The debt service, I'm estimating will probably come out to about 86 cents, and then operations is usually around 40 cents. There have been no changes since the public hearing, so these are the same numbers that you've seen for the past couple of meetings.
Any questions?
I'll move for approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Going on to the discussion items, the FABS consulting agreement.
Good evening. As Dawn Phelps is walking up here, I will introduce her. She is our program support for the district, and I'd like to say our unicorn. We're going to be working with students with behaviors, and so she's going to help talk to you tonight about this contract that we have in front of you. But I also want to just kind of start off and say that we wouldn't be standing here tonight discussing this contract with Franklin Applied Behavior Services if Dr. Clendenny had not sent me an email last year and basically said this: let's do this. And so Dawn and I talked and went, okay, we have our superintendent's approval. So what we have in front of you is a contract for Franklin Schools to work with FABS just this school year so that they can help us train and supervise specialized employees. They're called registered behavior technicians. You do have to be trained in order to provide that specialized service to students, specifically our students with autism. And for us in the field of special education, we would include, if applicable, this kind of service in a student's IEP. This benefits us in two ways. One, our students are getting a specialized service that they need. Currently, we're losing students to go to ABA clinics, or the clinics are sending a staff member to school with the student when we feel like we can do that ourselves. So Dawn is currently getting her certification to be able to do the training and the supervision. She's just not done yet. I think you'll be done in May. We'll just say the end of the school year. We don't want to wait. We could wait. We could say we'll do this 24, 25. But as you've heard through the strategic plan, our students with behaviors are increasing, and we have a need to move forward to get the kids the help that they need. And that's with specialized staff. So not only are we benefiting students, the other benefit is we can bill Medicaid for some of the students receiving this service. So currently we have students in Franklin who we bill Medicaid for their speech services, their OT services, their physical therapy, and that generates revenue for us to help fund the super underfunded special education budget. So as we move forward with potentially offering students ABA through their IEP, we can also bill Medicaid for some of them. It won't be all of them, but some of them, which will help us fund the staff members that we're needing to do this. So this contract is temporary for this year, because next year Dawn will be able to do all the signing off, the training. We won't need somebody else to do that, but she'll need her certification done in order for her to do that for Franklin Schools. Do you want to add anything?
No, the certification is a BCBA, and I already have the coursework done. I'm just doing my field work hours with the same company that we are actually contracting with, and then I'm also doing it through remote. But you have to have 1,500 hours, and I'm about halfway through that. So as soon as I have those, and then pass the test.
So what questions do you have? I know that as I ask you what questions you have, I continue talking, and sorry for that. A few weeks ago in Friday Notes, I put just some highlights about ABA. I didn't go deep, but we are potentially entering a space in not just Indiana, but probably across the country where clinics are going to be closing. We have students we've never seen, who've never stepped foot in our school because they've been in ABA full time. And as these clinics close because some of their funding is decreasing, we will be welcoming them back to Franklin, and we always welcome them. We want our kids in our school system, but we also need to be able to support them in a way similarly that they've been supported in their clinics. And so this is a great way for us to kind of build the support system we have in Franklin, while also generating revenue to help support the additional staff and the increased pay that they may need. Now, what questions do you
Mrs. Scott did highlight that I sent her an email. I will say, though, that we're not really a trendsetter in this. They did visit Greenfield Central. Would you talk to us a little bit about your journey in going to Greenfield, what you learned, and potential opportunities?
So I've actually spent a lot of time with Joe out in Greenfield. We first started talking via phone, and then I went out and watched his program, spent the morning with him. Really, the changes are just in the mindset and how we work with our kids who struggle behaviorally, and how we support them, and how we support them in the classroom, and how we do that by bringing in funds via Medicaid that also support that ABA portion. So out in Greenfield, they have several RBTs. They use them in the Essential Skills Program, and in what we call our Functional Communications class, they have staff in there, and instead of, for example, having 2 teachers in a classroom of 12, they have 1 teacher, and they have the kids split, and they have RBTs, or what they call behavioral technicians, in each classroom to help support. And they're a higher skill level, and because we're able to pay them more, and they have that certification, they're able to work with those students independently away from the certified teacher, who's then able to kind of split her time, and we just have more resources. So that's one of the things that I saw, was it really helps our resources go further, and resources getting people to work with students who have behaviors can be difficult. And so in order to do that, we have to be able to offer pay, but we also have to be able to show like what you're going to give us for that pay. So, that help?
Thank you.
Do you have an idea of how many students we're looking at needing this?
As far as ABA services or behavioral support?
The
So,
ABA?
Within the ABA, we have 2 classrooms right now that we are looking at supporting. One classroom has 11 students. I think all but 1 has an autism identification. In the other classroom, I believe it's 13 students, and all but 2 have an autism identification. And so we've already actually started looking at training staff within those classrooms and getting them certified, so that when we're ready to hit the ground running, then we can go ahead and put that in their IEPs. It's going to help bring a calmness to the classrooms. Kids who can't communicate really struggle, and it's hard when your staff is making what they're making to bring in that talented staff. We need to be able to pay them more, and they need to be trained, but then they'll be able to work with these kids on their communication skills. They'll be able to follow intervention plans. That'll be part of their training. And then hopefully they'll also be able to bring those kids up to a level where some of them will be able to go out to the general ed. But you're looking just at those 2 classrooms, probably 22 kids. And that doesn't include kids out in the gen ed that we can think of that would benefit from someone who would be there one-on-one with them.
I was going to say, the starting point when we discussed this, we had to say, where do we start? Because honestly, we have 1,030 students in the district with IEPs, not all of them with autism. But we did have to say, we need to start where our students are self-contained, where those behaviors are occurring. They need the most specialized support, and then eventually, as I think when Dawn's able to do the training and supervision next year, we'll start branching out to provide that to more students. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves, though.
So I got a question. So you will be training people already employed to be RBTs, or you be bringing new people in?
Both.
Okay. Okay. So as you expand, and I know labor is always an issue, as you expand your services, do you have a labor pool of people to support that growth?
I believe so. I believe there's, when you can pay parents, especially, for example, to the people who are interested in it, they have children who have autism. They really want to work through the school year. They don't want to work during the summertime, but they want a little more money than the starting rate, which I think is $12 an hour. So when we're able to support them in getting their training and becoming RBTs and being able to do that specialty and offer that
I didn't bring my file with me, but I see some formatting issues with it. And tomorrow I'm going to go through what I had previously reviewed and see where the apparent change has occurred in the formatting and the paragraph numbers. Briefly, if you look at your agreement, it starts out with paragraphs 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.1, 4.2. Then under indemnification, it jumps back to paragraph 1. So, or at least that's what I had in my packet. So that needs to be looked at again by me. I realize it's not an action item tonight, but you can expect further communication from me on this matter.
Well, I did forget to mention that Mr. Young did review it and made some recommendations that FAB's fixed. So is it formatting or language? Just the formatting?
Well, it looks like there's maybe some language issues too, but there is, that formatting is really quite troublesome. But that's okay, I'll take a look at it and get you something in writing later this week.
Thank you. We'll see you next month.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the Earlywood transition. Dr. Clendenning?
Sorry, I had Dr. Worland go up. We had a student that came late for recognition, and we were going to honor them, and they unfortunately weren't able, but it was a Creekside student, Kaylee Sullivan, and we just want to recognize her because I saw her in the back. I said, okay, but they had to leave, unfortunately, but we wanted to recognize them. Regarding the Earlywood transition, we are finished with the first quarter, really, of looking at the disposition document, and next month, you will be receiving a draft copy. Prior to that draft copy, Mr. Young will be receiving the draft copy that's being put together by Church, Hiddle, and Antrim. All boards, so he'll actually get to do it twice, as NHJ is also part of this journey with us. But a couple highlights that I just wanted to have you think about as we talk about the transition. One of them is the property. As you know, we are going to be going through the process of obtaining the property. It is in our school district. There will be some dollars spread out over the life of the term to go back to the representative school districts. We make up about 40% of Earlywood. So there is a 60% give back to the other corporations. We did go through 2 appraisals, as well as looking at the cost for demolition of that building. And so that will be included. Mr. Young will also be involved. He actually was the one that sent us the names for people to appraise the property at Earlywood. So that's one of the things we're looking at. Also, personnel. As you recall, we did send letters of intent to employ. I believe we got all of them back. There may be a few modifications to that, but not many. Really, the modification would be openings that we may have that a person could fill. We were not looking to add any additional bodies at this time. But one of the things that comes up is insurance. We are in the same insurance trust, but because each school district and interlocal can negotiate their own collective bargaining agreement, it doesn't look the same. And so one of the things that we'll have to look at is when their contract expires, what's it look like for them to continue to jump onto our plans, even though they're a part of us, and that will be spelled out. Ms. Scott and I attend the meetings each month to talk about the resolution, the transition in this journey. But I just wanted to give you a few points of interest. We've talked about it a little bit in Friday notes as well, but for the public to be aware of, really the property is the big thing that will become part of our school district, and we have some plans, hopefully looking at some of the things we just talked about with maybe preschool and some of those things that could go up there to help us in this desert that we talked about early on. So So I will get that document to Mr. Young and to you in November. Then we need to vote on it probably in December or January at the latest, because then they need to get all the boards to approve it, and then the governing board of Earlywood will finally close it down. The date is still June 30th, when Earlywood will no longer be in existence, and that is for all personnel and the dissolution of all the property involved with the dissolution. And so that's why we're bringing this to the board's awareness today. And probably the next several months, we'll have an Earlywood section on our board agendas. If you recall, we did have the Executive Director, Dr. Balsley, come and talk to us in the summer just about what it's going to look like and answer some early questions. And we're just now continuing to move through that journey. Thank you.
Any questions? Okay, we'll move along to the website update. Mrs. Betts?
Good evening. So over the course of the past year or so, we have started talking about the possibility of revamping our website. Since we created our logo in 2011, we launched a new website in 2012, and then again in 2017. And since then, we think that now is a good time to kind of look at revamping that look, updating our design, and it's really twofold. First of all, we want to make sure that the user experience for parents is easy. We want them to be able to find the information that they want quickly in as little clicks as possible. We also want to make sure that we are developing a site that truly markets who we are as a district. As we know, enrollment matters, and so we really want to put the information out there that's going to attract students. It's going to attract the great teachers and great support staff to continue to keep Franklin where it's at. We also wanted to take a strategic approach to communications, and so we came up with a list of what was important to us. And outside of the design and user experience, we really wanted to look at that branding, that marketing, and search engine optimization. That's in addition to logistics. So we absolutely want to make sure that we keep the website responsive, accessible. We have a lot of documents that, from a compliance standpoint, we have to have out there, so we want to make sure that that stays. We want to make sure that we have secure web hosting, and we wanted to find a vendor that would offer that content migration for us, and we wouldn't have to recreate the entire wheel. So we looked at 3 website providers. Blackboard is our current provider. We've been with them since 2012. They have recently merged with another site, and so we talked with them, learned a little bit about their process. The time frame was going to be a little bit longer since they are in that merging process. Their timeline didn't really match up with ours. But one of the good things about staying with Blackboard is you stay. You don't have to move. You're not retraining your staff. We met with Aptigee. Aptigee has a great mobile product. The thing that we found was that it's kind of redoing everything that ParentSquare already does. And we've really found a home with ParentSquare. Our parents are really getting the hang of it. Our teachers are learning to use it, and we're really getting our message out that way. And lastly, we met with Clever Dogs Media. They are a local company. And after weighing all of the different options about each of the vendors, we think that Clever Dogs is the best vendor for the choice. Just a few things to list about them is they are experts in their field. And when I say that, Aptigee and Blackboard truly create websites for schools. It is all they do. With Clever Dogs, they really bring in that marketing and branding experience. They take a strategic approach into how they build their website from a marketing stance. They're a local partner. I have sat on one board that kind of walked through the process with Jeff Owen and his team as they were revamping a website. So I had a little bit of firsthand experience. But they've also had rave reviews from some other partners, such as Franklin Education Connection, Johnson Memorial Health. With them, they're local, like I said, so we have quick access to live customer service. We're not putting in a work ticket. We're not waiting on a 1-800 number. We've got live access, or live customer service. One of the things that Jeff was really excited about was that Google search engine optimization. And that is not something that I know a lot about. But after listening to him talk about it more, I think it could be really beneficial. Two of the things that Clever Dogs will offer that were not offered by the other two vendors is consultation on marketing messages and strategies and the development and execution of social media campaigns. So basically what that means is each month they will check in with me and we will talk about kind of what our plans are, what is our messaging for this month. And they will then turn around and help create social media campaigns where they will do those postings. They will create content that matches our website and social media all the way through. That'll continue into Parent Square. Sometimes the focus on the daily, celebrations, the daily communication, the daily recognition, some of that strategic communication can get lost in the shuffle. And so I think having this extra set of minds would be extremely beneficial. They also have the secure website that can be portable. So let's say, in 5 years, maybe we're done with this and we want to move on to something else. We continue to maintain access to that site, which isn't typically what happens. Content management is something that they do for us. Right now, myself, and then we have site coordinators at each building who are in charge of gathering content and placing it on the website. With Jeff's company, they actually have a team that does that for you. They guarantee that your updates are made within 24 hours, but in most cases, they average between an hour and 90 minutes. Anytime there is an emergency, they will take care of that for you. And then they do offer training for someone in the district so that, worst case, you do have access to update. The ability to integrate with third-party figures. Dr. Clendenning has met with numerous parent groups, and calendar comes up over and over and over again, and it should just be easy to be able to link our calendar to the website and have everything flow together, but we've really had a problem figuring out what can do that. So that was one of the issues that we talked to Clever Dogs about, and they actually just use different apps and can pull into your site so that everything can flow together. So I think that would be a nice added bonus for our parents. And then they also monitor the website performance for us. So whether they're using Google Analytics or that search engine optimization, they kind of walk through that with us and then are able to tell where our viewers are spending their time. I will get a contract to Roger to review, but just a brief overview of a 5-year outlook of cost. I thought it was interesting that even with the additional services of their consultation, they do come in significantly lower over a 5-year period, so that was great to see. And if this is something that you approve next month, what we would like to do is start in January with a focus group. He likes to get about 12 people together and really walk you through the strategy behind your website. Who are you as a district? What is your, we'll talk about the guiding principles, we'll talk about our mission, and he'll really work through that to kind of create an overall plan of what that website looks like. February through April, that's when we'll kind of do the nuts and bolts, and we'll find those apps that we need, and we'll find those anomalies of what has to carry over, what doesn't have to carry over, and everything in between, and really pare down our website. We find oftentimes that parents are like, there's a lot out there. So we really want to make sure that that's a little more mainstream. In May, we would open a site. We could use board members, building principals. Some of my site coordinators now have said that they would also help with this to navigate the site. Is it easy? Is it friendly? Is it doing what we want it to do? Does it make sense? And as long as all that goes well, we would launch July 1, just in time for summer. So what questions do you have?
I don't have any questions, but I just want to thank you for all your hard work for that, and I'm looking forward to it. It'll be good to have a nice, fresh website, so thanks.
So Robin, are they hosting, or is Clever Dogs, are they proposing that they're going to host the site for us, or does Mr. Sprout still need to have the...
So I had to have him write it out for me because this is not my world. But they actually use HubSpot to to host, and he sent me a link to their security practices, and I haven't had a chance to send it to Mr. Sprout or the board. I just got that today, and so that will kind of walk you through the security aspect of their hosting, just to make sure that any of our information stays secure. We don't typically put a lot of sensitive information on our websites, but still, just he walked me through that whole process, and I'll make sure that I send that to you. But the HubSpot hosts it, so part of the fee is a hosting monthly fee, and that's what we would be able to take with us if we were to leave the company.
And that's over and above that 5-year that you have listed there?
Yeah, I just went out 5 years
Yeah,
because that's what some
that's
of the
fine.
proposals. But if we were done after that, we would just maintain that fee in the site. Yeah.
Okay. And then the second question, and this is probably more for Matt, and I love that you're thinking about pulling that calendar in, you know, for all the apps that are going to pull in, but we got to make sure that we have those apps in our environment, right? That they're not driving new apps that we've got to go out and purchase to be able to utilize, you know.
Yes. So there are minimal costs to some of them, but I kind of factored that in.
Okay.
We talked through a couple of them that we would want for sure, and then I estimated high end what that might cost and just factored that into
Good.
our annual fee.
Okay. Thank you. Nice job.
I had a couple questions. And thank you, because I think the branding and marketing investment's hugely important for us. So glad to see that, and I think I shared that board experience with Clever Dogs with you, so I'm familiar with them. 2 questions. I think you kind of answered the first one, but what kind of feedback have you gotten about the current website, other than the calendar, because I had that written down, that you could share? If I know there's some focus groups going to happen.
So on our current website, it's interesting. The most popular pages take you out to putting money in your child's lunch account, and the menu, and the calendar. We try to keep at least 4 stories on our front page every month, just showcasing individual student growth and the guiding principles. And people visit. The click rate is not really high, and it's not really unique. So outside of those 3 parent-driven spots, and the front page, most of the website does not get used as much as we would like.
Right.
And a lot of it, to keep in mind, is there are pages that we, either legislature or some other policy requires us to have. So they're not super exciting to that young mom of a 2nd grader, but we have to have it out there.
And then I'm curious, because I know Clever Dogs in other ways, but like, did they give us references on other sites they've managed currently?
Yes, so I looked at Discover Downtown Franklin, JMH, or Franklin Education Connection. They also were the Chamber of Commerce here in Franklin. They also do NHJ, their website. And so I spoke with Kate Taylor just to kind of talk about her experience and some of the things that she's been freed up to do because they're helping with the strategy and the messaging. So that was exciting to hear, but yes, all rave reviews. One of the things that we all talked about was just really making sure that our website is unique to us and doesn't kind of fall into any of the same formats, since everybody's pretty local.
Thanks.
Is there any?
One more question. So the athletic department just recently went through a change on their webpage for communication and calendars and that. Can you get with Mr. Doty and just check requirements and see if there's any opportunities that we can benefit both?
Sure, absolutely.
Or reduce some expenses there?
Absolutely. Is there anything you would like to add, Dr. Clinton?
No, thank you for doing this. And one thing to highlight on the athletics, they will still keep their separate site because they just entered it, as Mr. Lamb said, that contract to make it more user-friendly, focused on athletics. But it still needs to brand and look just like us. And that's one of the requirements that we put before them. And so that's what we'll work on. But I'm pleased to see us moving forward with a local person. I'm on the chamber board, and Jeff brought his strategy to them as they reintroduced their website. I think he'll do a great job with us and be very supportive of our needs. And let's face it, it's a competitive world for public education. You know, as we move to a state that provides opportunities for all parents to select where they want to go to school, we need to be at the forefront telling our story. And the website is one of the places that we have an opportunity to do that, and we need to be unique. So one of the reasons why I think Clever Dogs provides that opportunity are the other sites are national sites. Actually, a local school district just went with Apogee about 3 months ago. I like that we're going to just partner. NHJ uses them. They have for a few years. When I talked to Dr. Etzel before he left, they like the site and what they're doing. So I think this will provide us some opportunities in branding and security and having a third person help watch. Robin's job's a big job to share our story. And having somebody else helping with that will be a nice feature.
Okay, we'll move on to first reading of the policies.
Thank you very much. I'm excited actually to talk about policies tonight. A few weeks ago, Mr. Sappenfield, Dr. Worrell, and I sat down with CCH&A's documents. We had Natalie with us as well to go over and make the changes happen as we talked about them. And this is the first round of our new policy structure. What they did was took the most important from the aspect of legal or law, and that's what we get to see the first round. And so what you're seeing tonight is a letter and a 3-digit number. That's the actual policy. So, for example, the very first one is A125 on nepotism, conflict of interest, gifts, and use of corporation resources. When we open that up, that's the actual policy that we're seeing. When we look at A125R, that is the administrative guidelines they're suggesting. Now, we normally do not vote on administrative guidelines. We take those to the cabinet, and the cabinet looks at them, and we make the appropriate modifications. But I'm bringing all this to you tonight so you can see what it looks like. You'll notice that 125E is a form that we need to begin using in this process. So those are the requirements you're going to see throughout. Mr. Sappenfield is your first lens of eyes, and we make those appropriate modifications. We're also back in touch with Churchill and Antrim to make sure that it still parallels their language, as well as Mr. Young gets to see them. So we have several sets of eyes on this new process and steps that we're taking. One of the other benefits, we are streamlining our policies. You know, we don't have one for personnel that are certified and for students and for support staff. We all have one policy, and then embedded in that policy are the words that represents all of our district. So that's where we are. So tonight, as we identify the policies we're looking at, like I said, these are the most important ones in terms of our safety for our students, awareness for our community and our staff. And so in the first readings, we're highlighting, for example, staff conflicts, uniform conflict of interest, whistleblower protection, firearms, weapons, and destructive. Obviously, that's a very significant one with regard to that. Reporting and suspecting of child abuse and neglect. We're talking about tobacco use, non-tobacco use in our district. Admissions for legal settlement. We talked about that, recruiting people in. What does that look like? One of the things we've talked about is what if, when a student gets expelled? You know, we don't accept those students in, but we need to make sure our policies reflect what we're talking about. We look at the homeless student's rights and responsibilities, anti-bullying, which is a state requirement, student discipline, due process, and then public comments and concerns. One of the things that we did talk about in public comments and concerns, we liked what we presently have in our present language, and so we kept that, and that's one thing we did have to modify back to Churchill. They reduced it, I think, the total minutes, and also total amount of times. We kept it back to 3 minutes or an hour, with the board president having the ability to allow other people to make comments. One of the things that we did highlight, though, is that we would use a process in identifying who would comment. If we ever have a large opportunity to have conversation, they would go through this process so everybody would get a chance, and that's spelled out in our policies. So like I said, I'm excited about this. We're going to talk to the principals and cabinet next Monday about the guidelines around those. But this is a really good step forward, I think, for our district, and they will still be tied to board docs and for public observations and utilization of our policies. Dr. Worland, anything else on that Mr. Sappenfield that we wanted to highlight?
That's a good summary.
So we will be bringing these back for second reading and final approval next month, and we just received our next batch. We're trying to do about 20 each time. That's why it takes about a year to finish this. So really, our target date is June 30th of this year to be completely wrapped up as we head into the year. So we actually have Neola policies right now, and we have church interim policies that we're both playing with that we need to be aware of. Thank you.
Okay, so so then all of them will be in the new format by July then,
By
right?
July 1st, we'll have everything in the new format and also matching in board docs, and we'll let Neola know. I notified our Neola rep 2 months ago as we moved forward with Church Hill, and then we submitted a final document to the parent company this past month.
So next month, we really only have, when it comes to an action item, we'll have 12 policies to approve. The guidelines are still going to be left to the...
Correct.
Okay.
That's correct. We will highlight those example and guidelines. One of the things we talked about, there is a place under corporate gifts, and there's not acceptable, but the guideline says something around nominal gifts of under $250 of value. Well, as you all know, a lot of things that we get an opportunity to attend are like a basketball game. Well, a Pacer game, $250 might get you one ticket, right? And sometimes our vendors will say, hey, I've got a couple tickets. So we talked about that, the three of us, and maybe moving that to $500 to seem like that'd be reasonable. And it's not usually a vendor that's trying to sell us something. It's really more of a gift to say, hey, thanks or whatever. So that's one example. We did talk to Mr. Sappenfield about that and how that plays out kind of in the corporate world for them, and looking at that would match that. So that's one example that they recommended $250. We're going to recommend $500, but still be very discerning. And it's not a gift in terms of that. It's more of a, hey, someone we've already partnered with, or it could be someone local. Like, Mr. Sappenfield said, that he has opportunity sometimes and wants to take one of you with him. Well, if we had that low number, then when he got to $300, you'd be in violation of that, and we don't want to see that happen. So that's what we're looking at. Anything else on that one? That was an example of something we talked about. But Mr. Lamb, also to further expound on that, you'll always see R&E in the first readings so that you can see what we're talking about. And then we'll take them back out. We do have one that we talked about the other day that Mr. Young and I are looking at in terms of some other federal law policies that you're going to see. It's going to be more of a guideline, and that'll come to you next month as well.
Okay.
Okay. Any public comments on the discussion items? All right, any board comments? Administrative comments?
Yes, I've got a couple of administrative comments. First one, when we had that nice fog delay, we were unfortunately unable to attend our quarterly board visit at Needham Elementary. And we are looking at calendar options and opportunities. On November 1st, we had the public hearing for the CBA tentative agreement. If you remember a few years ago, we were at Northwood, and we did the exact, we had you, the board, talk about the contract, talk about how we did it, and we had the fourth grade students watch us kind of go through that process. We would have a similar opportunity on November the 1st, but that's a Wednesday. And I didn't know if your calendars would allow for your flexibility for a Wednesday morning, that we would go back to Needham and celebrate their staff and all their hard work, but also use this as a civic learning opportunity for our students to see the governance of our school district on November the 1st. So if you could check your calendars, Natalie will send an email tomorrow or text messages to verify that, if that works for you. The second calendar update that I'd like to talk about, next week, we had on the 26th as the public reading of the CBA. So the November 1st is approval. The public reading was the 26th. On the 25th, we have At My FCS Academy, scheduled for 6:30 at Creekside Elementary. So in our meeting today, we talked about maybe marrying both of those opportunities, where we have some public people with us. President Nelson is already there. Actually, she is to present next Wednesday, and Ms. Sott remembers that as we talked about the role of a school board. But I thought it might be a good lens for the community to see what you're doing with regard to the teacher participation in CBA. So if that were an acceptable date, on the 25th, I think it was at 5:45, we had talked about to give us about a half hour of time. We would meet in Creekside Elementary, and we would go over the tentative agreement at that point in time. And then it would be listed as an agenda, and then if you wanted to stay for the At My FCS Academy, you could. Well, I can, because I'm going to post it as an agenda, as a meeting. I know Robin's like, you can't do that. I'm going to post it. I will post it. You don't have to. Mrs. Nelson, President Nelson has to be there because she's presenting. But other than that, so I thought that'd be a good opportunity also to see governance for our community. Both of them will be live streamed for the public community. We will have public comment options for both of those. So once again, the 25th and the 1st are options for us.
And you said 5:45?
5:45 would give us about 30 minutes to 6:15, and At My FCS Academy schedule will start at 6:30. And that one goes till about 7:45, 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock I'm being told, on that Wednesday. And then we would be at Needham from breakfast 7 to 7:30 and be done no later than 9 o'clock for the visit at Needham Elementary. And we would have the reading of the CBA and the board vote right at the start of school, so the kids could come and be a part of that as well. Yeah. Ms. Gross, anything else on that?
Can you just confirm that that gives you enough time for all postings?
Yeah.
So we wouldn't have the meeting on the 26th?
We would not.
It'd be moved to the 25th?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yes, so, yeah, Mr. Williams, that worked for you probably?
I think so, yeah.
And Jake says yes. So I think, Natalie, tentatively, it looks like what's a go on that. Get the dates and timelines set up. And I know the teachers, Tina's done a phenomenal job this past fall break. The teachers actually are going to have the document to go over and look to the ratifying on their side, so everything should fit well together. One of the things we did do before Tony left was get the TA. So now Mr. Norton, who is the interim president of FCTA, will take it to the body this week sometime. Is that correct? Or is it next Monday?
I think they'll go after our.
Okay. So that's where we are in that journey. So that's all I have on calendars or public comments.
Okay, calendar of events, anything for that?
Just want to highlight senior projects, November 21st. That is a day that we will not be in school, correct, Dr. Worley? Are we in school on November 21st?
We're in school on November 21st.
Okay.
The high school.
The high school
They have a different schedule that day.
will have a different schedule.
The rest of the districts.
Okay. And then on 22nd and 23rd, we have Thanksgiving break. And the 24th, yes. Okay.
Okay. That being everything, I'll adjourn the meeting.